Drive just south of Pearson Boulevard, and he had been a Rotarian and past president of the Downey Rotary Club. While in the desert, he would make up his Rotary meetings at the Palm Springs Rotary Club, which was started in 1940, so just a few years before our club was founded. Around that same time, Frank Kibbe from Laguna Beach came to Desert Hot Springs, and Frank had been in the restaurant business in Laguna, and he was a member of the Lions Club. Frank bought the Idle Hour Cafe on the west side of Palm Drive, just north of Pearson Boulevard, and Frank was a past president of his Lions Club. Well, the two of them, Sam and Frank, got together, and they felt there was a need to start a service club here in Desert Hot Springs, and it came all down to a coin flip. So Rotary was the lucky winner, and Sam and Frank, with the help of the Palm Springs Rotary Club, started the club. The charter night was held December 5th, 1947, in the patio of the Idle Hour Cafe. I encourage you all, after our presentation, to take a look through this book. It's really the first 50 years or so of our history, and it does a lot better job than I'm going to do today. But just wanted to note, our Rotary Club has seen kind of some ebbs and flows over the years, but they've done a lot of good projects in our town. The original library building, which is near Casablanca on Pearson Boulevard, they helped build that and started in 1955. They were a big part of the Wordman Park pool and playground. I believe that was early 60s. In the mid-60s and then again in the 80s, they built the city entrance sign, and the original city hall, that's the Carl May Center, and now part of the senior center. They did a flagpole and water fountain there. But lots of just different projects where individuals that join the Rotary Club would see a need in town, and they try and fulfill that need. As you look through the book, there's a lot of notable names, many I'm sure you'd be familiar with, that have been in Rotary over the years. L.W. Coffey, Al Horton, Carl May, John Furby, and we actually have a distinguished past president from 1990 in the back, Mr. Guy Hahn. So over the years, there's been a lot of involvement with different members, a lot of different projects. I was lucky that my grandfather in the mid-70s joined the club, so I was basically born and raised into Rotary, and I got to tag along on a lot of different events. And some of my favorite projects growing up is, in addition to the work they would do here in the Desert Hot Springs community, they would do an international project. So they had a sister club. Like Alyssa mentioned, Rotary is an international club, so they're all around the world. They had a sister club in Mexicali, California, or Mexicali, Mexico. So every year we'd go down there and give Christmas gifts and different projects to a school there, and they'd have someone dress up like Santa and give all the kids presents. And it was a lot of fun, and it taught me really Rotary's motto of service above self from a real early age. And Brianna wanted me to say this part. Another thing, I learned the meaning of collateral at an early age, because after that project, one of those projects, my grandfather and I continued down Baja to San Felipe, Mexico. I was 7 years old, and we stayed for a few days, and we went to fill up the car with gas and realized that his wallet was at the hotel room. So I got to spend about 30 minutes at a gas station in Mexico at the age of 7, all alone. And his favorite thing was, he liked to talk about it, but originally he said, we're not going to tell anybody about this. And I think the second we got back to the United States, the first person I told was my grandmother. And it was a rough week or two, but I think my grandfather liked that I spilled the beans, because then he could talk about it. But it was a lot of fun. Our district also, when I was in college, did a lot of volunteer work for Hurricane Katrina. So I actually got to spend 2 weeks in Mississippi, actually, doing rebuilding of a playground and their city hall. So just a lot of opportunities. And Jackie in the back, she's not speaking today, I don't think, but like Alyssa mentioned, we're really involved with our youth from the elementary school, middle school to high school, and we're really just trying to give these kids some good role models. So, like I said, this is the first 50 years. Unfortunately, our club has not done the best job keeping our history for the next 25, so we're going to do a little round robin and try and fill in some of those gaps. And I'll invite Mike Platt, who's our longest standing member, to come up and talk.
actually been in Rotary since 2015, I think. My memory gets touchy on that. But yes, we actually went out to Cabazon, to school there. We donated all the playground equipment. And I think at the time I was the youngest Rotarian disassembling that equipment, putting it on a trailer and hauling it down to Mexicali where we reassembled it on the Mexicali school. So it's probably still there because they don't throw things away. Yeah, you know, that's, you know, I came into Rotary, Art Wall, the ex-manager, sponsored me into the club because somebody was bad-mouthing me at the meetings. I won't use his name because he's passed. But, you know, once I started going to those meetings, I never heard another bad thing.
Your strategy.
And I like the motto of the club, service above self, because I'm a surveyor. I'm in a service industry. You know, I serve my clients. You know, that's my position. I try to make them all happy. Don't always do it, but, you know. And yeah, actually with Courtney Moe and
Richard Cromwell.
huh?
Cromwell.
Yeah. Yeah. We did the plans, the initial survey of this lot, and the site plan, and saved them no money, no charge for that. That was service. And then, when I went to work for the water district, I had to turn around and tell them they needed backflow. Uh-oh. That cost them some money. But, you know, I couldn't get anybody to donate those. That's not, you know, that's a gift of public funds. So they couldn't do that. And they did have to protect the water quality here. So, yes, this rock house has been around forever. And, yeah, it took a lot of work from a lot of people, a lot of volunteers to make it happen. You know, to actually get it going, get it approved. All of the structural work that had to be done to it so people can come in, and it's still not all approved. But, you know, it is, you know, part of the history of Desert Hot Springs. And I'm grateful that I've had a part in that. And, you know, I continue to work with Rotary. And the other thing that seems to be lost out of the last part is actually I started the first Interact Club at the high school.
Good to know.
That's not, doesn't seem to be in our recent history. But,
Mike, somebody asked me last week if we had had an Interact Club in 2004, and I think that was your club, right?
Oh.
Now I know. Thanks, Mike.
So, yes, it was brand new high school and wasn't even fully functional for everybody. But my kids went to that high school. Some of them from Palm Springs High School came up to finish it. So, yeah. I had an interest in this area, and yeah, evidently I was a Rotary member prior to that. So, thank you.
All right. Mr. Allen.
Standing joke of the Rotaries, if you give Alan a microphone, he's good for 20 minutes. I threw out 25 pages of notes, so you're only going to have me for about 5.
I'm gonna keep you to that.
Little of how I got here to Desert Hot Springs. I retired twice, once from the United States Air Force. The second time was from the city and county of Denver, and I got tired of snow up in Denver. And I heard the only thing you have to shovel down here is sand, and I thought, well, how bad would that be, you know, compared to snow and ice? And so we moved down here in 2011, moved here to Desert Hot Springs in 2016. My real estate agent at that time was a Rotarian. She said to me, oh, you've got to join the Rotary Club. Last thing I want to do, I'm retiring, I don't need another club. And so she convinced me to join, and in 2019, I became a member in October. They wanted me to talk a little bit today about what Rotarians do, and what could I contribute to the club, and what kind of activities could I be involved in. And that's usually the question in membership that somebody asks me. I don't have a lot of time, but we have a lot of ways that you can contribute to our club, tremendous number. I'm going to tell you about my first project in Rotary. It was fun, and John remembers this one. Jackie took me out to Amex Golf Tournament. It's one of the ways that we make money for our club, for the scholarships that we give out, and for the community projects that we do. And I got out there and I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And John's out there on the grill, and he's grilling hot dogs, and they said, you're going to roll hot dogs. I said, hot dogs? Uh-huh. And so I stood inside this little tent and had to put these hot dogs in sort of a thing and roll them all up. They had to be done a certain way, and kept putting them in a chair. And the lady said, oh, you got to be faster than that. I said, hey, I only move at one speed. I'm over 70 years old. I don't move as fast. We did over 3,000 hot dogs that weekend. And that's one of the things about our Rotary projects that I find interesting. And that's the fact that they're fun. Matter of fact, we have 4 tenets that we talk about in Rotary. And the last one says, is it fun and will it make money? Well, obviously we want to make money because that's how we do our community projects and our service projects and scholarships. So, is it fun? Yes. I haven't been on a project yet since the time I've been a Rotarian that I either haven't met new people or I haven't had fun doing the project that we're doing. So let's take a look at a couple things that we've got coming up here in the very near future. One of those projects coming up is Happy Healthy Halloween. If you have kids, probably not big kids, your kids are all probably big right now looking at the audience. But if you have smaller kids or grandkids, we put this event on many, many years, and it's very successful. The kids love it. They dress up in Halloween costumes. They go out and they do their trick-or-treating down at the park next to the library there. Usually we have entertainment for them. Ivan had put together a couple of years ago an obstacle course, and it has all kinds of foolish things around it. And it's just kind of a fun evening. That's coming up very shortly, and that's a way members can participate. They can participate by giving us candy. And so if any of you feel as though you'd like to donate a bag of candy to this, happy to take that. I'll have business cards after my presentation. Coming up also is Veterans Day. It's very special to me. I spent a 20-year career in the United States Air Force. I retired as a major. This year we are able to get a guest speaker from the USO who's coming. We recognize all the services there, and it's just a time to honor the veterans, and then from there we generally go up to the park for the Veterans Ceremony that takes place here at Veterans Park. Coming up after that, we are in the process of taking a look at the Christmas parade and possibly being involved with that. In January is Amex, a big fundraiser where we did hot dogs. We don't do that every year. One year we had to create bowls of different types of food. We've just done a whole myriad of things. We never know quite what we're going to do until we get there. But it's always a lot of fun. We have a great amount of support from the interactors that we were talking about a little earlier, the students that are from the high school, and they enjoy volunteering with us as well. In the spring, we have had on occasion a couple of times the 4-way speech competition. I don't want to take too much from other members of their presentation that they might be giving, but the 4-way speech competition is they take the things that we think, say, and do in Rotary and apply them to a speech topic. I happen to teach the kids 2 seasons, and it was a very rewarding experience one of our students who had never spoken before wound up actually becoming a finalist in the competition a couple of years ago. In the spring, we have Big Heart. It's our big fundraiser. And then we give out our scholarships. Our scholarship program here has grown since I've been with the club. It's now at $15,000 roughly that we give out, usually in $1,000 increments, so we can help about 15 students. The good thing about the scholarship program is that they can take that award, and if they meet the criteria for the Dr. Carrion Foundation, they can also double that amount. So we're really helping out a lot within the community. I enjoy being in Rotary. I don't regret that my real estate agent strong-armed me into becoming a member. I can stand here today and say, I am here to recruit you, not the military, I promise. But if there's anyone interested in becoming a member, if you think our programs or those kinds of programs you might be interested in, or if you think our organization is worthy of joining, please see me afterwards and I'll give you my business card. Thank you today. I appreciate that I was invited to speak.
Thank you guys so much for talking about the history. I feel like I learned a lot about our own club, a lot of the things I didn't know about myself. Brianna and I are going to go over all of the current programs and projects that we currently have in our Rotary Club. We're going to start off with High School Interact, and I feel like this is an important one to start off because I would say it's at the top of all of what we do. It's the reason Brianna's in the club. It's the reason I found out about Rotary. In 2018-17, I was a junior in high school, and I stumbled upon a club at the high school called Interact, where they met every Tuesday in a lunchroom. When I initially came in, I saw Brianna, and she started talking about all these different projects to work on and things like that. And I thought, why not? I'm struggling making friends in the high school anyways. Why not do some projects at the same time? And through doing these projects, I found a love for giving back. And at that time, I was, like I said, a high school student and was really looking for some good role models. And I think I stepped into the right room at the time. So some of the things that we do at High School Interact, it is essentially like a Rotary Club. It's just at a high school level. And so we do community service, we teach them ways to get involved, and through that we teach them our motto, which is service above self, as well as the 4-way test that we do of the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians, and we'll get into the 4-way test in a little bit. Another opportunity that I got to take advantage of in Rotary is RILA, which is Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. It is a 3-day, 2-night camp up in Crestline. Every club in our district will send a couple students. We tend to send quite a bit of students. I believe we got last year, we sent a total of 26. 23 students up to Crestline. It is broken up into 2 different camps, one in March and one in April. It is all Rotarian led, so Rotarians from all different clubs will go up and be facilitators, which are called DGLs. And then past Rylarians who went previous years will also go up as RILA alumni and will lead the camp. We teach them how to uplift themselves and how to come back to school and be a leader. For me, at being in the 11th grade, going to this camp was life-changing. I still go back, at least I try to, as a DGL to facilitate some of the groups and really show them that you too can overcome everything that you think you're facing at that time. And so it's really rewarding.
What's a DGL?
DGL?
Discussion group leader. So the discussion group leader manages approximately 7 to 9 11th graders throughout the weekend, and that's their day group. The day group is mixed, males and females in the group, and they're together. They go to a large area for a presentation, and then they'll break off into their small groups so they can dive deeper into that conversation. So we'll have conversations about accepting your body and not judging others and being a team player and how to communicate well. We even do mock interviews. We teach them how to write, they write a letter to their future self that we then mail to them right before they graduate high school. And it's just amazing.
I believe the cost to send one student up to RILA is about $500.
$550.
$550. It is totally free for them to go. Us as a club, we cover that cost. So if you really do the math, last year we sent 23 students. That's quite a bit of money that we fundraise to send, but it's because the message there is so important. We go through an interview, there's an application process that they have to go through, then an interview process. Once they're selected, there's also parent night that we facilitate. We also ask them, do you need sleeping bags? Do you need socks? These kids are from the hot desert and are going up to the mountain on a really cold March or April weekend, so they're not used to, I was not used to that. So we make sure they're prepped for everything that they need to have a successful weekend. We also have facilitators in our club who will go to the bus stop that we have before the kids get sent up to camp to make sure they're comfortable and they're okay and everyone's checked in. We even have some of our Rotarians ride in the bus to the camp as well to make sure everyone is okay and is comfortable for a journey that they're about to be led on. And then they're welcomed with some really familiar faces. We always have at least one or two Rotarians from our club at least be a DGL. If not, they're there as staff and things like that too.
And in addition to that, we really focus on eliminating any barriers that these kiddos might come across when they're being sent to camp, to the point where Rotarians like ourselves in the room will actually pick them up from their homes and take them to the bus stop for the journey up to camp. I mean, there have been so many situations where I'll call the Girardis and be like, hey, Joe just called and it's like midnight, the night before camp, like, I need you guys to pick Joe up and bring him to the bus stop because he's not gonna make it to camp if we don't provide him with a ride. So I'm very thankful for the Rotarians who always step up and fulfill those needs. There have been moments right there, right on the spot, where at a lunch meeting and we say, we need to rally up some money, we need to buy 3 more sleeping bags. And Mike Platt will be the first one and he's like, here's a 20, like, let's go. Whatever these kids need, our group has really come through to provide it. And I think that, at least for myself, I joined Rotary for the thoughts of, Ivan is my husband, if anyone doesn't know that. So his grandfather got us into the club. And I thought that I was joining for the benefit of our printing company. But that's not why I've stayed. I've stayed because of RILA and because of Interact and because of the change and the love that I've seen through Alyssa and her peers. And being part of that keeps me here. So I'm really excited to show you some more projects. All right.
So we also have our 4-way speech competition. So I keep talking about the 4-way test. It's of the things we think, say, and do as Rotarians. Let's see if I remember this off the top of my head. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it be beneficial? Will it be?
Will it build goodwill?
Will it build goodwill? And
Friendship.
better. Okay, thank you guys. And fourth, will it
Be beneficial to all
I
concerned.
have it. And then we also have a Rotary, Desert Hartford Rotary Fifth. Will it be fun and make money? Thank you guys for helping. I'm glad you guys are teaching me something. But we use that 4-way test, and the students who participate in the competition will use that test and do a speech. I was actually a participant of this. John can attest that I was horrible, but also not that bad at it. I did my speech about the history of Rotary International in terms of when they first let women into Rotary, which was not until 1989, and that wasn't that long ago. So I did a whole speech. I mean, I'm sure you guys remember the recipe and all that. So I started it off with the recipe. And it was a lot of fun. We went through a lot of process of how to get it into an essay form and then convert that into a speech, and how to work the room, how to hold a microphone, how to pace yourself while talking. And to be completely honest, at the time, I'm still not the best at public speaking, but at the time I was even worse at it. And if it wasn't for that project, I don't even know if I could have been up here talking to you guys today, let alone president. I actually won first place on our campus-based competition. I didn't place in the district, but it was still a lot of fun and I learned quite a bit. So that is a project that we're still rolling out. We're still trying to get students involved. A lot of them are afraid of public speaking, and we are trying to make sure that they kind of, we help those fears within them, because like I said, I didn't think I'd be doing a public speech competition, but it definitely helped me out in the long run.
And so, of course, where there are important projects, there are barriers that we have to overcome. And for example, the speech contest, we have a few major barriers. One being that we are working with high school students to do this project. I think that's a barrier. But the second part of that is that they have busy lives. And to convince them to show up, so they have to do more work and more writing and more speeches, it's hard to convince them. So we actually dangle a little carrot in front of them, and they are able to earn a financial award for their speech. So we have first place, second place, third place rewards for them. I don't know what word to use. And then awards. Thank you. And then in addition to that, we are trying to entice the English teachers at the high school to have students participate. So if, or any teachers, if the teachers convince their students to participate and it's the teacher with the most participants, they will actually get a classroom grant as well. So trying to eliminate barriers. Another one is, of course, volunteers from our club, or adult volunteers, mentors, to assist with that process. So one of our Rotarians, Marion Champion, is being supported already by quite a few people, including Alan and Jackie that are in the room. I'm sure John is up for mentoring as well. So if anyone here particularly likes to write speeches or help students learn how to have eye contact while they're communicating, we would love your assistance with that project. Ready? Sure.
Okay. So, okay, this is our middle school Interact Club. It is essentially the same thing as our high school Interact in terms of the values or certain projects that they do. There's also a camp for them as well that we'll get into in a little bit. This is facilitated. We used to have it be a community-based club a couple years back. We now have switched to having it be a campus-based club. I believe as of right now, we only have it at Desert Springs Middle School. We are trying to work into getting it into Painted Hills as well, but as of right now, we only offer it in DSMS. And there's not really much else to add to this one, other than it's just like our Interact is just a middle school base.
So Interact, the main idea is to introduce them to community service, right? And Alyssa, how many hours did you volunteer your junior and senior year of high school?
I think it was like over 200.
200 hours. So in addition to everything she's already accomplishing for school and her education, she contributed 200 plus hours to the greater Desert Hot Springs area. Amazing. So that's what Interact and Interactors are doing for our community. This is the 7th grade leadership camp. This is PRIDE. It stands for Personal Rotary Youth Development Experience. And very similar to RILA, where RILA is for 11th graders, PRIDE is for 7th graders. PRIDE, we send less students usually. It is a little bit more affordable to send, but we have to really cherry pick which students are ready for this camp. Because they have some very serious conversations at camp, and we want to make sure that they're receptive to it. So we make sure that the students that are going are well-mannered and can function away from home for a weekend. For so many of our students, camp is the first time they're staying away from their parents' home overnight. Like almost all of them, really, even at the 11th grade level. So it's amazing. PRIDE is a 2-day, 1-night camp instead of RILA, which has that bonus night. All right, and next, so let's get to the, well, do you want to go up to scholarships? That's our largest financial commitment, and then we can do elementary.
So next we're going to talk about the scholarships that we offer, which I, again, was also a recipient of one of our scholarships in 2020. giving out scholarships to our interactors. We have a scholarship committee put on by Mary Beth Coleman, who is one of our members as well, and she does a great job meeting with the committee, making sure we're picking good candidates for our scholarship. We also participate in the scholarship night that the high school puts on to make sure they get awards and things like that night as well.
And so college scholarships, I think we're upwards of like $12,000 a year
Yeah.
for scholarships.
And real quick, Alan had mentioned it as well, but we do try to do a good job for getting matching funds. So the Carry On Foundation and One Future, Coachella Valley, they'll do matches. So some of our students, we'll give them $1,000, and they might walk away with $3,000 if they're eligible for these other programs.
So as mentioned earlier, we really try and focus on all of the youth throughout Desert Hot Springs. So we focused earlier on high school and middle school and what we're doing there, but personally, it's evolved for my heart over the years. I'm now a third grade teacher. I blame Alyssa and her peers for making me become an educator, but it's a lot of fun, and so this is our elementary focus. A few years back, we asked the principals of our 5 Desert Hot Springs elementary schools, what do you need? Because we were tired of guessing, right? What do you need? And so they said, well, when students have accidents at school, okay, maybe they're, not making it to the bathroom on time, they're sitting in the nurse's station for over an hour, waiting for their parent who works across valley to come home, get clean things, bring it to school, if that's even an option, right? So how do we get those students back into the classroom as quickly as possible? That was our challenge. So we created elementary emergency clothing kits, and each school year, at the beginning of the year, the schools send us a shopping list, and they have a $200 budget, and we're able, for each elementary school, so $1,000 goes towards this project annually, and we're able to fulfill their needs for emergency clothing. So that's emergency kits. And then, like our Interact clubs, we also have an elementary school level club. This looks a little different because middle school and high school Interact, we feel a little more comfortable bringing them around town with us, and we can go and pick them up from their homes and help with transportation. We don't do that at the elementary school level, so this requires a lot more parent involvement. However, we do try and bring almost all of the projects to the school instead of having them have to come out into the community. So some of the projects that they're doing, they're reaching out to other organizations and getting donations to the school. So they're working on getting school supplies at Two Bunch Palms Elementary to help support the teachers' needs in their classrooms. They're also creating holiday cards and thank you cards and sending them to Desert Cove Assisted Living Home here in town. We're just really trying to teach them our motto, service above self. And then one of my favorites, maybe because I'm a little biased, Ivan has helped create this project and has been supported for, I think, around 6 or 7 years? 8 years. So the entire club has backed this project for 8 years. This is called the SURF Project, and it stands for Summer Reading is Fun. And we provide a book to, originally it was every second grader in Desert Hot Springs, so that meets about 500 students. We have now increased that to also get to every first grader in Desert Hot Springs. So we're providing approximately 1,000 books at the end of each school year to Desert Hot Springs students to make sure that they have something to read over summer so they can stay busy. We do encourage them, if they finish their book, to trade it with somebody else so they can have as much exposure as they can to these books. As a third grade teacher, I receive the students who have already benefited from the SURF program, and it's a lot of fun to ask them what their book was that they read and let them know that they've already met Mr. Sewell. So that's kind of a fun connection for me. If anyone is interested with this project, we spend one evening usually putting a sticker on the inside of the books, a couple hours, but it is, repetitive. And then we go to each location to distribute the books. And you get to see the smiles on these kids' faces as they choose a book for themselves. So if that's of interest to you, Ivan would be your contact, or of course you can reach out to me. I am the Youth Services Director for our club. And last but not least, Ivan and Mike have already touched on this one a little bit, but this is the Mexicali project. As mentioned, Rotary is an international organization, and so we try and do our part with supporting the international needs as well. We collect clothing, eyeglasses, sports equipment, whatever we can fit in stuff into our vehicles and take down with us to Mexicali, we do that. Other times, we bring a pocket full of cash and try and stimulate the economy there. We'll go to their local stores and purchase other things that they tell us that they need once we arrive. We have spent many, many days painting in Mexicali. There is a school for deaf children who we tend to gravitate toward when we do our projects. There's also a kind of like a children's day shelter that we also go and do a lot of our donations, or give a lot of our donations as well. So you can see some pictures here. The reason that I love the Mexicali trips, especially, is because we get to form these bonds over years and years and years with the children that we're benefiting. And so you'll see a little girl here, Paloma. She is not hard of hearing, but her little brother is. And just because it's easier for her family, she also attends the same school. And Paloma and I did not speak the same language, but we fell in love with each other. And we were attached to the hip all day long. We played, we chased, we played soccer, we painted. It was so much fun. So if anyone is ever interested, our trip usually to Mexicali is the first weekend of January. Anyone can join us. You do not have to be a Rotarian to support any of our projects, although we would love for you to join. Anyone and everyone is welcome to participate.
That's just a little bit about the projects that we do, and you guys are probably thinking, how do you fund this? So
Yes.
Brianna's going to go over some of our fundraisers that we have. I know Alan touched a little bit about some of them, but Brianna's going to give you a deep dive into kind of how we fund all of these projects.
So as you may have realized, I kept adding thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars together. Well, how do we figure that out? We have the Big Heart Awards, which was already mentioned a little bit. Big Heart Awards is our largest fundraiser that we have. We honor small business, large business, volunteer of the year, nonprofit of the year. As you can see, the Historical Society had received nonprofit of the year previously, so they have a plaque on their wall here. We really try hard to reach out to our community. We provide awards for educators, police department, fire department, city staff person of the year, and a few more. So that is our big ticket item. This coming year, for our 24-25 Rotary year, will be March 20th. If you are interested in attending that fundraiser, it will be held at Miracle Springs on March 20th, and we would love to have you there with us and supporting our community members. In addition to that, we have a lot of smaller, not that they're less significant, but smaller fundraisers that really help us bring all the pennies together. One was mentioned, the Amex, the American Express Golf Tournament that's held in the late winter. That is over the course of 4 or 5 days, and you can sign up for shifts in their food area with us, with the Rotary Club, and we're able to bring in, I think last time was about $4,000, $6,000 for the 4 or 5 day span. And that's a really important one for us, because it's also a great way to build our camaraderie within our club. It's super fun, even though we're rolling hot dogs or whatever we're working on for the day. Another fundraiser that we have is our comedy show. You get to listen to me for a little bit, but I help organize with Ivan and a few others. We have professional comedians come out, they do a skit, and it's about an hour, hour and a half. If you are easily offended, it is not a show for you, so please make sure that only if you're willing to laugh, you should attend that event. I have some tickets that you can use to help scan the QR code and purchase your tickets for that event. Our comedy show coming up is on Saturday, November 16th. Tickets are $20 each or at the door for $25. However, usually we do sell out. That is also hosted at Miracle Springs in their Joshua Tree Room. I think that's basically our fundraisers. And then, of course, just donations that folks provide. We have a few people that write checks, and that is their way of contributing, and that is okay as well. We have some friends of Rotary that like supporting our college scholarships, and they are generous givers every single year, but they aren't interested in being a member or having the obligation of coming to meetings, which brings me to my final point. I wanted to bust a few myths. A young lady had come up to me earlier today and she said, well, I can't join Rotary, I'm not a business owner. And I totally understand. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought I was joining Rotary because I wanted my business to thrive. And while it was fabulous, and I'm not going to lie, it benefited my business, that is not a requirement to be a member of Rotary. You do not have to be a business owner. You do not have to, you just don't have to anymore. We don't really talk about occupations in regards to how it was done in the past, but we have things called like craft talks or member spotlights, and so we'll occasionally share what we do in any capacity that fits our needs for that conversation. Let's see, Alyssa already mentioned that women can join Rotary now, so hallelujah, there we go. And also, Desert Hot Springs Rotary, I like to add this in here. If you're a member of the Desert Hot Springs Rotary, our annual dues are $200, which is one of the most affordable, if not the most affordable, membership for a Rotary Club that I've ever seen, anywhere. If you are a member of the Desert Hot Springs Rotary Club, that gives you access to attend Rotary meetings around the world, to the point where Jackie has been able to go to Brazil. Ivan and I have gone to meetings in Mexico, and I know that a few of us have, just pop in whenever, wherever we can, even at local clubs here in the Valley. So it's a lot of fun. There are 16 clubs, I believe, in the Coachella Valley alone. So maybe on a Thursday, if you're interested, we have lunch meetings. We're changing up our schedule just a little bit with the goal of starting the new schedule in November. We'll have one lunch meeting a month, we'll have one dinner meeting a month, and we'll have one social gathering a month to really try and help build our camaraderie within members. So please let us know if you have any questions. I know that was so much, but it's noon on the dot, so that wraps up that. Questions?
I just want to give one more myth buster.
Yes.
Brianna joined when she was 23 years old. Alyssa joined when she was 20 years old. We are not a club for old people, and we really, again, we talk about the youth. We are very involved with the youth, and we want to have people of all ages with all ideas and all concepts. And again, it used to be old white guys sitting in the Rotary room. Now we've got young women and older people, and we are all inclusive. And I think that is a myth that needs to be busted as well.
Everyone is welcome. We don't judge.
We have members from their 20s to their 80s, every decade, and we'll soon have one in his 90s.
Yeah.
Mr. Bill.
Oh,
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill?
Yeah. Yes, sorry, in the back.
I go someplace every single day, and I thank you for the dog park. Isn't that your dog park? Nobody ever mentions a place that hundreds and hundreds of people thank you for every single day. It's an extraordinary dog park because it is grass. It's very unusual.
Yeah, thank you. So the dog park, and I'm sure Mike can, go ahead, Mike, you've got it.
Yes, I built the original water fountain, which has been replaced now with two, but the plaque and such from Jack Brooke
So,
Memorial.
Can you do one on the west part of town?
so we actually don't maintain the park. It's maintained by the city.
No, I
by
know
the city,
that.
all those things. We were just the lucky recipients of a beautiful plaque that has Ivan's grandfather's name on it. Jack Webb Dog Park, named after Ivan's grandfather.
But it was the work of the Rotary Club at the time to kind of get the city
To do it,
Yeah.
to make it a dog park, yeah, instead of just a grassy knoll.
You know where
Yes.
Corsini
It's, yeah, behind Corsini Elementary.
Yeah.
Off of, it's at the east end of, what is that, Hacienda
Hacienda.
and Long Canyon, almost where they meet that last elementary. Long English Way. Yes, yes. There is another dog park over at, Workman Park, but it's not.
It's
Yeah.
this big.
Yeah, it's
It's
not.
supposed to be.
Yes. Miss Randa.
Speaking of plaques that are on things, if you've been up to Wardman Park, you'll see that there's a giant rock in the middle of Wardman Park that has a plaque on it from a Rotarian. Says donated by Herb Lopez. And the reason it's there is because the Rotary like to have fun in Desert Hot Springs. So when Lope Lopez, who owned the local liquor store, was away, he had just had his yard landscaped. He brought in a giant rock, and while he was gone, the rest of the Rotarians stole it. Got a big crane, moved it to Wardman Park, and put his name on it.
Sounds like us.
So, yeah, it's not just a club for old white guys. It's a club for people who like to have fun. And Jill, you have stories.
I think that's why we
From your family, too.
Line to our four-way test is, will it, is it fun and will it make money? And it's really not, it's not a four-way test item, but it's just our little bonus. I do think the district governors and people that come and visit always mention that we are the most fun. So I'll take it. I'll take it. From all the people before us. Thank you. Yes. So please feel free to take a look at our awesome historical book. I see a few little nice things here. We'll keep some of these things, I think, with the foam boards. So feel free to take a look at the pictures and inscriptions there. Ms. March.
Could I just add that the exhibit will be left here for 3 months? So we have had already, if you haven't been here, rotating exhibits for the Mission Springs Water District, old maps, collection of old maps that service stations gave away that has a lot of history in it. So be prepared to come and see rotating exhibits. So this will be up until January. And while we're talking about organizations working together, before Brianna was a teacher, I'm sure some of you know she was a realtor. And she was the realtor that I contacted to purchase this house, and she and Ivan gave her permission to the building of the Rock House.
Wow.
And the purchase of the Rock House. So thank you.
Of course. It was a fun project to work on with Marge and the team. We went to go and talk about purchasing it, and then the next day it seemed like it was already off the market.
Right.
And we're like, what in the world? We finally have the ducks in a row, and we can't purchase
The next
this property.
event?
What is going to happen to it? We found out that it was actually an investor that purchased it. And we're like, this is terrible. We have to, and I am so sorry, am I walking all over your future presentation? I don't want to spill too many more beans. Okay.
No, please
Okay.
go ahead, because
Okay.
you are the source, and I'm
Okay.
enjoying it.
It was so fun. So we reached out to the investor and we said, hey, look, this is what's going on. The Historical Society really wants to purchase this property. How can we make it happen? We know you just did a quick claim deed on it. How much did you pay? We're willing to pay that and compensate you for your time at least. And so I, like Marge said, I agreed. I'm like, I don't want any money. I want this to be the Historical Society's. I don't care what it's going to take. So that's what we did, and we ended up meeting him at the bank, and we did another quick claim deed on the property, and we made it work. And Lydia, you were there with us as well, correct?
No, I was actually excited when I heard that the Historical Society was buying this building. So I came down here to see the building, and this guy was there locking the gate. And I said, what's going on? Well, I just bought the building, and I contacted, I put the alarm out. And so then you guys
Yes.
are able to save the day.
So it was pure magic, I felt like, but it was a lot of fun, so thank you for letting me be part of that and giving service above self, that commission, it didn't matter. This was important to me and important for our community, so thank you guys for the opportunity
Thank you.
to serve.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, perfect. My name's Brianna.
Thank you, Brianna. And thank you, everyone. Presentation. And Brianna, we'd love to have you back to talk more about the purchase and the history of this well.